Greetings, of course. Welcome to the Champions Way. I am your host, Connor. And finally, on to episode 2 after meaning to do it for almost 4 weeks now. Now, I haven't been lazy. I crashed my car, then I caught COVID, and then after I recovered from COVID, I got my booster shot, which wiped me out. So these past couple of weeks haven't been really haven't really been good for me. So I have been, struggling through that and been really meaning to get to doing, Champions Way and some of the other video content that I've been wanting to do for a while now. Even though I have had time, I've really not had the energy. It just did not have the energy. But I'm recovered and feeling better. And now we're finally here. So episode 2 of the Champions Way, and you might be wondering, what exactly are we going to be talking about? Well, I felt like it was time to address the elephant in the room, or more specifically, the collection of action figures that I have surrounding me at all times of the day. I have literally thousands upon thousands of action figures. So I thought it would be a good idea to talk about that, to talk about why I got into action figure collecting, what figure lines I collect, why I collect them, and where do I even get them from, because I have to be getting them from somewhere. I thought I'd address all those things. I've constantly been told by Ashraf as well that he gets questions from his mates about, man, where does Connor get all those from? How does he have so many? How many does he have? So I thought I would address all of those questions today. Before I start, I'm going to quickly note it is a very hot day. I'm trying my best to keep cool. I might end up looking a little bit sweaty on the forehead as time goes on. I will try to avoid that. You audio listeners, you just have to deal with my voice, not the sight of sweaty old me trying his best not to look like he's melting in the sun. So without any further ado, let us get on to why did I start collecting action figures? And the simple answer is that I liked action figures when I was a kid. When I was growing up, my favorite character was Spider-Man. Found out about the whole Marvel Universe thing and the expansive roster of characters that were laid within. And so I really wanted toys of all those characters. And it just so happens that when I was really getting into, really wanting to explore Marvel characters and get figures to replicate, represent them, Marvel Legends was starting. So, I had access to these highly posable, highly detailed, super awesome toys that represented these characters, allowed me to, let my imagination run wild and free with them. And that not only helped boost my love for comics and the characters, but it kind of imprinted in me this love for the art of action figures. Because there is an art to them. Making action figures, whether they be mass-produced, hand-painted, made by a machine, sculpted by hand, it doesn't matter. There is still art to it. And I fell in love with it when I was a kid, and I grew to have a much greater appreciation for it as I got older, getting more and more kinds of toys. I had some Mega Man toys. I had Sonic the Hedgehog toys. I had a bunch of Star Wars. I had Transformers. Just a huge variety of different toys growing up. Eventually, I sort of stopped because I wasn't a kid anymore. I was a teenager in high school. So for some reason, your brain goes, oh, I'm going to stop doing things that make me happy because I'm not cool if I do them. And then I realized very quickly I wasn't cool even when I didn't do the things I thought were fun. So I just went back to being a nerd after I was unhappy and still not cool. So I, started watching the movies and the shows and playing the video games I wanted to, without fear of judgment. And one day I walked into a Toys R Us. It was December. It was like the 27th, 28th. It was like a couple days after Christmas, right? walked into Toys R Us at the Jeps Cross Homemaker Center, which is now no longer there. It's been replaced by Toy World. So I walked into that Toys R Us, walked down the aisle with all the Marvel stuff, and saw for $7 a figure the entirety of the Terrax Build-A-Figure wave. Now, this was I want to say 2013. Yeah, 2013 that this happened. This was 2013 that I walked into this store and got these figures. And the reason why that's significant is because the Terrax wave came out in 2012. So you can imagine why they might have been down to $7 a figure. They just couldn't get rid of them. No, they just could not get rid of these figures. I don't know why Marvel Legends wasn't selling so well at the time. I think just because it was still fresh and people were still a bit on Hasbro's Marvel Legends stuff from the dark days beforehand. And now that they're back, Marvel Legends wasn't, immediately as explosively popular as it is now. So, they had trouble getting rid of some of the figures. I literally called my mum going, hey mum, can I borrow, I think it was like $50. I'm like, was there 7 figures in the wave? 6 or 7 figures? So yeah, around, $50 for the entire wave, which is almost the price of a single Marvel Legends figure today, right? Like about, $35 to $45 is your standard Legend, maybe 50 for certain ones. So, it's real bizarre how almost like what, 7 years, we're at the start of 2022 when I'm doing this video, 7 years can do as far as price changes are concerned. Now, of course, these were on like super special, post-Christmas Boxing Day style sales for figures that were like over a year old at that point. So of course, $7 is rare, but still it's bizarre to think that like my first real foray into Marvel Legends collecting, not just being a toy loving kid, but like wanting to collect them, was this, lot of an entire way for the price of what can be a single figure these days. What's kind of also significant about this is that it's not only the thing that got me back into collecting Marvel Legends, it was also the first time that I completed a Build-A-Figure in my entire life as a collector. I had like a bunch of Marvel Legends, but I never got all the Build-A-Figure pieces for a wave. Ever. For some reason, I just could never do it. I mean, as a kid, part of it was that I didn't pay for it, my parents did. And consistently expecting, I think, like $20, $25, $30 from my parents, within a small period of time just to get a bunch of figures to build a bigger figure. It was, it wasn't going to happen. So when I finally had the opportunity to, I jumped right for it and built my first Build-A-Figure, which was Terrax here. Now, for audio listeners, I'm actually holding up the Build-A-Figure Terrax. The first Build-A-Figure Hasbro did upon their return to the toy line in 2012, and the first Build-A-Figure I completed. And I'm going to be honest, when I pulled him off the shelf, he was a little dusty. I had to dust him off and clean him up a little bit. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Hopefully he's all nice and pretty for the camera. And let's see if the camera will adjust. That lighting is not great for plastic. So yeah, I'm going to be honest, pulled off the shelf thinking, he's probably a bit dated at this point, but honestly, he kind of still holds up. There's a few things about him that isn't as in line with modern Marvel Legends. Like aesthetically, he's got these balls for his hip joints, where now they're more of it's more of that sort of curve shape for the upper part of the hip thigh area. It's more anatomically correct in today's Marvel Legends, but here it's got the ball joints. And other than that, though, really, this guy still works. He's got a, ooh, hello. I was just saying, this guy still works. I go to kick his leg forward and his hip just pops out. But that's fine because he's a Build-A-Figure and yeah, boom, puts right back in. Wow, that worked well. All right, cool. Holding his hip, the loincloth section doesn't really hold back his articulation much. The only real issue with his articulation is that his elbows are single jointed and go only just, like not even a full 90 degrees. But outside of that, like this guy's got most of the articulation you'd expect from Marvel Legends and looks good doing it still. Like he still looks good. still sits up there on the shelf looking like a boss. And yeah, I'm actually really excited. Really excited to actually just pull this guy off the shelf and start toying around with him again, because when I got him, man, I was so pumped. I didn't even really know who Terrax was when I first got my hands on him. I was like, okay, cool. He's like one of Galactus's heralds, but he's not Silver Surfer, so therefore don't know. You know. But I played around with him a lot when I first got him, and just pulling off the shelf again is actually a lot of fun to was, you know, just posing around off camera before, just having a bit of a good old time with him there. So that is pretty fun to pull him down again. Still holds up, actually, which is great. Still holds up to the standard of modern Marvel Legends builder figures, which is awesome to see. I'm going to put him over here, get him out of the way for now. But yeah, so I got him from Toys R Us along with the whole wave. I don't actually have a lot of figures from that wave still. Like they're like on display. I've got Constrictor. I've got, I think it's Hope Summers as well. They were both in that wave. But I think I've still got the Thor. I still got Claw, and I've still got the Iron Man from that wave. But they're all in like boxes, like in storage under my bed, actually. Two of the other figures in that wave were Ghost Rider and Steve Rogers, and I don't know what happened. I think Ghost Rider's arm snapped and Steve Rogers' leg snapped. I don't know what I did to break them, but they're not here anymore. I remember them being broken. So sad. I really wish I still had them, especially the Danny. I think it was actually Danny Ketch. Yeah, Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. It's a very specific look. It's the blue flames. I think that looks so cool, especially because you have the fire coming out of the shoulder pads and just this gnarly looking Ghost Rider that I personally loved and would wish I still had. But oh well, what can you do? I mostly collected Marvel Legends from there on in. I I got my first Centrelink payment in late 2014. My first Centrelink payment came in like November 2014. It was like $260, I think. And my immediate response was to spend all of it on an eBay listing for the Hobgoblin Build-A-Figure wave, the Spider-Man Hobgoblin Build-A-Figure wave, which was like, it was 6 figures. The Phil Ulrich Hobgoblin, the one with the big wings and the fire sword, was the Build-A-Figure. But that wave had Daredevil, the classic Daredevil, which we still technically haven't gotten an update for in Marvel Legends. He's still on my shelf because my Mezco Daredevil broke, but we'll get to that. Get to Mezco a bit later. So he's still up on my shelf. He's still the one I have on display. So that is at this point in time, late 2014, that is that's like a 6-year-old figure at this point. And we've only had like re-releases of that figure essentially. Like it's the Bucky Cat mold, and we haven't had any new goes at it. I still think that they can use the where is he? Do I have him somewhere around here? I was posing around the Retro Wave Spider-Man earlier, and he should be around here somewhere. But I was posing around the Retro Wave Spider-Man, and he's a bit bulkier and a bit, you know, more built, a lot more articulated. I still think we can totally get a good Marvel Legends Daredevil out of that buck sometime sooner than later. But at the moment, yeah, that Daredevil, you know, Pizza Spidey. We have Pizza Spidey from that wave. You know, that was awesome. I actually still have Pizza Spidey up on my Spider-Verse display, which I'm still not finished yet because I haven't got all the accessories out. There's a couple of Spider-Men without heads over on my Spider-Verse shelf over there that you guys can't see. But do know that there's a bunch of headless Spider-Man just standing up on one of my shelves. That wave was awesome. I loved that wave. I loved pretty much all the figures from it. I think that wave also had Mayday Parker as well, like Spider-Girl, and Ultimate Spider-Woman, the clone of Peter Parker, like the female clone of Peter Parker. Anti-Venom, and I can't remember the 6th figure. I think it's another villain, but I can't remember which one. But I believe it was another Spider-Man villain was packed in with that lot. And yeah, it was a great wave. But I spent all my money on my first paycheck on it, like just because it was I was irresponsible, very irresponsible. Mostly Marvel Legends for the next few years. In fact, I wouldn't really dip into anything else until about 2016. At the start of 2016, I was going to TAFE for a Cert 3 in media, and I walked into a store called Mad Zombie Collectible, and they had the Marvel Select Juggernaut. And I was like, ooh, I don't have a Juggernaut yet, and they haven't announced a Juggernaut yet for Marvel Legends, so I'm going to buy it. So I bought the Marvel Select Juggernaut, and then literally about 2 months later, Hasbro announced the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Juggernaut for their X-Men wave, and I was like, fair enough, I suppose. So I got that whole wave. Really like the Marvel Legends Juggernauts. They were kind of on par as far as a lot of the elements to the figures, but I think I just leaned into liking the Marvel Legends one more. Currently, I don't even have that one on display. I have the 80th Anniversary Juggernaut, which I think is an improvement over the previous one by quite significantly. So both of those Juggernauts, the Select one, I actually gave that to Sam. But that isn't the only Select figure I ended up getting. I got a bunch of Marvel Select figures over the years. The Destroyer being one of them. He's actually, I think, the only one I still have up on display, because I also got like Marvel Select Ultron at some point as well. I got the Ultron because I didn't have an Ultron, and it was a nice classic Ultron. And he was, he's a robot. Ultron's a robot, so like, him being bigger than everyone else, not really a problem, right? In the case of the Destroyer here, same deal. His size in the comics, I could never really get a grasp on how big he's meant to be in the comics. I just know he's meant to be big, so him being significantly bigger than everyone else was fine to me. I'm gonna be honest, this guy here, this guy is awesome. Still to this day, this guy still holds up as a great figure. The detail is amazing in this guy, like the paint work, the sculpt work, everything is here. All these spikes are awesome. And his articulation is still pretty good, especially for Marvel Select. He's not like the most articulated, but it's the Destroyer. He's not going to be doing any moonsaults or anything, so you can get all the movement you want out of this guy. So I was, this is still one of the few characters, Marvel Select characters I have on my shelf, to this day. Still just, I mean, look at it. It's gorgeous. I'm just I've pulled a bunch of figures off my shelf. Oh God, why aren't you focusing? There we go. That's a bit better. He's so shiny though. He's so shiny. I love him though. Still so many Marvel Select figures out there that I want to get though. I've only got a few. But I've actually been looking at the Immortal Hulk one. That one looks really good. And Titanium Man. That one looks awesome as well. I really want Titanium Man as well, if I'm being honest. So yeah, there's a couple of Marvel Selects. Maybe in my future, who knows? Pulling him down and playing with him may have just convinced me to go and get more Marvel Selects, because they're great. They're great toys. But yeah, Marvel Selects were the first really dive into other lines, and again, it was to enhance my Marvel Legends collection. It was to enhance, the collection I'd already started well about 2.5 years beforehand. One day, I was in Gamma Rays. I think this was late 2016 or early 2017. And the next line of figures I decided to start collecting showed up. And it was the Mezco Punisher. Now, you want to talk about figures that still hold up. This is still the gold standard for Mezco. I don't think Mezco has made a figure like better than this one. This is like their first one too, I'm pretty sure. And I just like, I love Mezco. I've got, you can see the Mezco Moon Knight right there. Mezco Captain America and Iron Man are up there as well. I love all of those figures, but there's just something about this Mezco Punisher that's just still great. It's not his posability. I don't think I don't think he's got the best sculpt. There's just something about him, an it factor to this toy that is still so great. So this is actually the toy that introduced me to Sam, because Sam was selling this through Gamma Rays. It was just on the wall for I think $240, and I called up Sam going, "Hey man, can I buy this for you but pay it off through installments?" And he was like, "How much?" And I'm like, "Can I do $60? So give you 60 now, and then give you 60 in 2 weeks, and 60 in 2 weeks, and 60 in 2 weeks." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. That's awesome. I'm willing to do that." So I bought this off him. And yeah, I took it home, sat at the kitchen table, and just started unpacking all the accessories, posing them around. And I was just like, whoa, this guy, this is some next level stuff, I won't lie. I wasn't too into soft goods, but as you can see here on Punisher, it works so well. Oh, come on, focus. Focus, there we go. Can we get him focused on the head? Can we get it focused on the head? No? It won't focus. The camera won't focus on him. But yeah, like, it's just immaculate, this figure still, and it's the reason I started collecting Mezco. I started getting a bunch of DC Mezco as well, because I thought that'd be cool and fun. I got, as I said, I got my Moon Knight up there. I got Daredevil not long after. I got Punisher. He broke. That's so sad to me still. I'm still so sad my Punisher is broken. Sorry, my Daredevil is broken. I think he just fell off the shelf one day, and then his hip joint just snapped. And that was just sad. Because Mezco figures are hard to get once they're sort of out of their sort of initial release. Like, I'm still struggling to track down a decent price on a Mezco Iron Fist. So that's I'm definitely going to struggle to get a good price on a Mezco Daredevil at this rate. But even Mezco's figures that they are releasing at the moment are hard to get because they just don't release them when they say they will. I'm still waiting on my Mezco Ghost Rider. Like, he was meant to release mid last year, and he's not here yet. I don't know when he's meant to release because my pre-order's not been fulfilled. I don't know, Sam's hasn't either. So Mezco's always been bad with their release dates. Always been bad with their release dates. If there's one major complaint I could have about Mezco, it's their releases. It's just the worst. They are the worst when it comes to their release dates. But that Punisher started me getting some Mezco figures. And again, because they're 6-inch, they also went with Legends. So I had this hodgepodge of select Legends and Mezco all just kind of congealing together into one collection. And that's what it was until, all the way through 2017. And then 2018 came along. I got to the end of 2018. And I actually just got my first job. So at this point in time, all my collecting habits have been fueled by me being a student or a job seeker. So I was getting settling payments. And I got a job. I got my first paycheck. I was in the city. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna spend. I think I got like nearly $900 of my first paycheck. I was like so buzzed, like thinking, "Whoa, okay, awesome! I'm gonna go spend this on stuff." So I walk into into Shin Tokyo, actually, which is a shop in the city. Shout out to Shin Tokyo and all the lovely people who work there, because there are a lot of lovely people who work there. And I ended up getting my hands on this. I actually threw him on lay-by initially. I just sort of threw $40 on him, I believe, and then paid him off over the next 2-3 weeks. And what basically happened was I walked into Shin and I'd never seen a Transformers Masterpiece figure in person. And to walk in and to see a couple of them on the shelf and me be like, hey, they're here, they're real, they're physical. and I can afford it, I immediately decide, all right, I'll grab the cheapest one. I'll grab the Bumblebee because it's Bumblebee. You know, how can you say no to B? And I was immediately, I got home, pulled him out of the box. I actually went onto TFW 2005 for the first time in years, which is like a news site message board thing. And I just kind of fell in love with Transformers all over again. And this was late 2018, which is like September, October. So I want you to picture in your minds, I've gotten this Bumblebee, I've gone home, I've looked up Transformers for the first time in years, and I've come across the trailer for the new Bumblebee movie. Like, you could, the timing on that was almost unimaginable, because I didn't realize there was a Bumblebee movie coming out that year. I did not realize at all. So that was great timing for this little yellow guy. Just transforming him was the thing that made me realize how much I love Transformers again. Just converting him from his little Volkswagen Beetle to this little yellow robot was all I needed to fall in love with Transformers again. And I started with Masterpiece. I got the Masterpiece Trax. I got the Masterpiece Ironhide. I actually got the Masterpiece Megatron, the MP36 version of Megatron. So I got my hands on some pretty good Masterpiece figures from the get-go. And this was the little guy that started it all. He doesn't have his pistol on him. I didn't grab that pistol out because I don't have my Masterpiece figures on display. I'm debating on whether or not I sell them, but if I do, I'm not sure if I'll sell this guy because he's kind of the reason I collect Transformers at all now. And he's still so cute and still so good. So yeah, this was like a bit of dream fulfillment because when I was first into Transformers, when I was a kid, I think Masterpiece was just starting and they were so cool. And I didn't realize, you know, I didn't like have a good grasp of how the toy line had evolved since I stopped paying attention. But this guy was a great reintroduction to it all. So I got him. And then kept getting a couple of Masterpiece figures. And then sometime in early 2019, I thought, you know what? I want more Transformers, and Masterpieces are really expensive. So it's hard to get, you know, get them for me at the time. So I decided that I was going to look at the Generation stuff because I hadn't touched Generation since legitimately, like, when it first was really becoming Generations. The Chug stuff, the classics Henkei Universe Generation stuff, you know, like I had Classics Mirage, you know, that's how, you know, that was like how long ago I had gotten any of the Chug Generations style things. So I went and I just went on a crusade, and I mean a crusade across Adelaide. I went to Kmart at Ingle Farm. I then went to Target in near Paradise. Keep forgetting that one's cold, but it's the one near Paradise. I then caught a bus from Paradise to the city, went to the Toy World there, went to the Target there, the Kmart there, the Maya there. I went to TTP, I went to their Target and their Maya, their Big W, their Kmart. I went to their kids stuff. I actually got some of them from, like I think I got Ironhide and Ravage and Laserbeak and Soundwave from kids stuff, which I didn't expect. I didn't realize they sold that stuff. They sold any Hasbro things, right? I then went to the Toy World at Jeps Cross. I then went, my sister wanted to go to Port Adelaide for a reason. My sister and mum were going to something. I said, can I come along? I want to check out the Kmart that's near there. We stopped at Kmart on the way home and I got more. I think I got Soundwave, Laserbeak, and Ravage. The Pterodactyl, the Pterodactyl, Battlemaster, Aimless. I got, what's his name? Lionizer, Prowl, Ironhide, Chromia. I just got a whole, and Starscream. I got all of those. I just grabbed a whole bunch of Transformers, and I fell in love with what they were doing with Generations at that moment. I loved the Starscream especially. It was the first time we really got an attempt at what are they called? Tetrajet. The Tetrajets, the triangle ones. It's the first attempt we ever really got at a Tetrajet in Generations form, and I got my hands on it, and I loved it. It's a great mold. There's a reason why I've gotten almost every single Tetrajet Seeker that they've released. It's just a great toy. It's endless fun for me. Especially here. Look, I'll actually, again, for video viewing, I've just pulled up, he might be a bit dusty. I've just pulled up the Generation Selects Red Wing from Transformers. Got him in a little chilled out pose there. He's just sitting, minding his own business, chilling. Devil may care attitude. Love this Red Wing, by the way. One of my favorite, maybe my favorite one to do the mold outside of maybe Skywalk, who's just awesome because of his color scheme anyway. I'm, still collecting Generations, not so much with Masterpiece. I thought I would just pull out for the sake of it. This is my Studio Series Jazz, because Jazz is one of my favorite characters. I'm so glad we got this figure. I just wanted another reason to pull him down from the shelf and play with him, to be honest. So Studio Series Jazz, just kind of pulled him out for sake. And earlier today, I actually got my Studio Series Wreck-Gar in the mail. Got a couple more Studio Series figures coming in the mail as well. They'll hopefully be here maybe next week, the week after. So yeah, I'm gonna pull this bad boy out and have some fun with him later. But yeah, so Transformers, I was fully into Generations, slowly stopped collecting Masterpiece because of how expensive they were. And I thought, well, look, I should probably choose one or the other. And that decision was really, my hand was really forced in that choice because of the pandemic. So put my Transformers Masterpiece collecting away, put my Masterpieces in storage, and now I'm just collecting Generations. Every now and again, I do look back at Masterpiece though and go, yeah, it's still pretty cool, but I can't justify spending that much money in most financial situations. I have to win the lottery or become a billionaire, to start collecting all of that again and still collect my Marvel and all that. So at that point, it was Transformers, it was Marvel. And I came across another line, and I was a bit, I was interested because I play Dungeons and Dragons. I think I've mentioned, the first episode was all about Dungeons and Dragons, if you haven't seen it yet. And I found this Mythic Legions line. And I'd always wanted to try buying from Big Bad Toy Store before. And I always had wanted to get a line of fantasy figures. And I said to myself, right, I'll get the Skeleton Boy. I'll buy him from Big Bad Toy Store. I'll get the Skeleton Army Builder Boy. Because worst case scenario, I don't like him, but Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, if they have like a Dr. Fate or anything like that, any number of characters could easily have a skeleton involved in a display or in some action poses. It'd be fun to have a skeleton soldier. Have them posed with my Hela. Hela, the Queen of the Damned, bunch of skeleton soldiers following her around. Perfect, right? Can't go wrong with that. So if I don't like the line, just get the one skeleton. I like the skeleton, so I got a dwarf after that, I believe. I got the dwarf. No, I got the barbarian. Sorry, I got the barbarian army builder. I got the dwarf after that. I got Queen Urxa, I think her name is. She's like an orc. And I've just gotten a few more since then. This has been a line that I collect on and off since then, just because it can be a bit expensive each figure. The quality is there. Don't think I'm not saying the quality is not there, but it's a bit expensive for each figure. It's quite a bit of money then overall to collect, and it's a line that can dip in and out quite comfortably. and I'll see a figure that I really want, and I'll go, oh, hang on, actually, you know what? I'm gonna get them because they look cool. So I am not very consistent with these guys, but I still collect them on and off. Mythic Legions, I started collecting. It was like the really first, like, going outside my comfort zone, really, because I was somewhat familiar with Transformers, and all the things I was getting were Marvel or DC related, and I was sort of like, things I was used to. Nothing really stepping into some wild, outlandish stuff as far as accessories, posing, or franchises. Then I got my hands on the Mafix Spider-Man, the sort of 90s McFarlane-inspired Spidey. And to be honest, man, I don't know why I don't have a bunch more Mafix. I just pulled them off the shelf the other day, and I still love this guy. As you can see, I've been posing him around. He might be the closest to a perfect Spider-Man that we have in 1/6 scale. The only thing that really stops me from really leaning into that is kind of think the blue could be a bit darker. Like on camera, it actually seems a lot better on camera here right now. Like the way it looks on camera, at least from what I'm seeing on the preview over here, is the kind of blue I would actually want. But in person, it's quite a bit lighter. It's actually, now that I think about it, looking at it here, this Mafix Spidey has a very similar color palette to the Spider-Man costume at the end of No Way Home. So that's interesting. That's interesting. I like that. That's actually kind of something I didn't realize. That's cool. All right, but yeah, no. So this is probably my favorite 6-inch Spidey figure, and I've got Pizza Spidey, I've got the Retro Spidey, I've got the Mezco Spidey. But I think Mafex has done the best one so far as comic book classic Spideys. I wouldn't mind them having another pass with a darker blue, though. Maybe some other accessories. Just a second pass through with some updates would be awesome. But that's just a want, not a need. Because honestly, if they never release another Spidey again, this one will do just fine because he's so good. And pulling him off the shelf and playing around with him again, it's made me realize how much I want to get on top of ordering some of the other figures they got coming out. I'm pretty sure they got Jean Grey coming out soon, and I think I need that Jean Grey. So that was really, that Mafex Spidey was really my first go into the hyper articulated bunch of accessories, maybe slightly smaller, but hyper detailed figures, like the import type stuff. I hadn't really touched anything like that. Not Mafex, not Reveltech, not even Figure Arts. I got a taste for it and I liked it. The following couple of months, I decided to give a go to a line called Dragon Stars, and I've said my opinion on Dragon Stars. I don't like them. I don't think they're very good. I think they're lacking in all regards. So I decided to, I wanted the Dragon Ball thing. I wanted Dragon Ball stuff because I really like Dragon Ball, and the Broly movie was still fresh in my mind from, I think it was early 2018 when it came out. It was still fresh enough in my mind. I had gone back and started rewatching all of Dragon Ball, all of Z, all of Kai, even watching GT and stuff. I was really like wanting, figures to pose and play around with and display for literally probably the only anime I've ever really cared about. I'm not a big anime guy, but I love Dragon Ball, right? So when the Dragon Star stuff wasn't to what I was hoping, it wasn't quite, I was kind of hoping for like Marvel Legends, but Dragon Ball, and it wasn't quite up to that level. It wasn't quite there. It had a lot of kinks in the armor. Kinks in the armor? Is that the phrase? They had flaws and faults that just were too much for me. So I, in a desperate want for good Dragon Ball toys, decided to give SH Figure Arts a go and ordered this SH Figure Arts Frieza. And in that lighting, he is very white. He's very white indeed. My God, this lighting is not favorable to these toys. Anyway, so Frieza here, was really my first step into figure arts, and ooh, man, I liked him. I liked him a lot. As you can tell, this is the Resurrection variant because he's got the halo. I think that's awesome. I've got two of these actually, and I'll tell you why. So I got two of these. The first one I got, and this is actually the first one I got. He has an effect piece that's like his little death ball, his finger. He has a pointy finger. He's got the death ball, and it sort of has a clear plastic that arches around and clips around his wrist, and that's how it sort of has the death ball sitting at the end of his finger. It's actually a really cool effect. It's actually pretty awesome, like very well done. But I moved it around, and Frieza's got like little purple details on his forearm. I sort of moved around the effect piece, and I scraped some of the purple paint off of his forearm. So I had this big chip in his forearm, and I felt bad about saying I need to return this. It's broken because I broke it. I'm the one who did the damage to him. So I didn't want to just be like, oh, hey, you know, I want to return this, because I also was buying from a new shop. And I wasn't sure how their returns policies worked or anything. So I just thought, screw it, I'll order a second one. I'll order a second one, because that way I can have a version of Frieza with the halo and a version of Frieza without it. So now on my shelf, I've got Frieza up there with the Ginyu Force and Raditz, and Dodoria and Zarbon will go up there when I get them. They got the Namekian Dragon Balls with them. I actually really like that display up there. I love the way it looks. But, you know, up there, just floating with his finger up in the air, about to do his whole death ball thing. And I've got this guy with the halo and his arms crossed over on my Dragon Ball Super display. I've got him with like the Tournament of Power stuff, because, you know, he was so good in the Tournament of Power, man. He was such a great character. But yeah, so that was my first jump into figure arts, and this guy is awesome. I love him. I then got the Gogeta. And I then got, you know, the Dragon Ball Super Broly Gogeta. And then not long after that, I also got Broly from that movie. And between those three, I got a pretty good idea of the quality and style of figure arts, Dragon Ball, and I now have quite the collection sitting in front of me. So, you know, didn't look back. So grabbed Dragon Ball, loved it. A couple of lines. I'm going to speed through the rest of these. I was out shopping one day at Kmart with my mum, came across the Power Rangers Lightning Collection, thought how cool would it be to have a full set of the original Mighty Morphin Rangers on my shelf. So I got the Blue Ranger here, fell in love with it, got a bunch of other Rangers, some of them not from Mighty Morphin, started collecting them. I've since dropped the line because of budget reasons. I do one day hope to pick it up again. G.I. Joe Classified. I got into these quite late, earlier in 2021, partially out of just a sudden interest, because they looked like such cool figures. Actually, I'll be honest, it's because there's a Snake Eyes that comes with a wolf, and I really wanted that, and I had to wait for him because I've pre-ordered him, and I just wanted to see if this line was any good. So I got a couple of figures, and I'm holding up Lady Jane here. And the reason I'm holding up Lady Jane, she wasn't my first, but this is how you do a good female figure. Lady Jane here is how you do a really good female figure. The articulation, the sculpt work, the accessories. This actually might be my favorite female figure in my entire collection. Period. Like, that, I think Android 21 is also really, really cool. I think she's awesome. I got a couple of Transformers I think are nice, but I think this here is the best female figure in my collection by far. So yeah, she's up there. I can't speak enough on how much I love this Lady Jane figure. Didn't pull any of them down. I've also got Hot Toys that I'm collecting. You can sort of see, I think you can see Stan and a little bit of Thor and Captain America. I love my Hot Toys. I started collecting them because of the homemade suit Spider-Man that came with a Mysterio drone was at my local Zing Pop Culture. Walked in, saw it, thought that's awesome. Went home, thought about it, went back the next day, went, I'm gonna buy it. So got my hands on that. And I also bought the Guardians of the Galaxy video game on the same day. So I had a pretty fun, eventful day with those. That was actually just a really fun day between that game and that toy. Awesome. And then I've also spoken at length recently about DC Multiverse. I actually talked about the DC Multiverse Peacemaker figure that I got a couple about a week ago at this point. So if you want to go check that video out, I did a full review. But this Joker here might actually be my favorite so far, surprisingly enough. Is he the most articulated? No, he's actually missing a lot of the articulation in like his legs. He doesn't have any kind of swivel movement at all in his legs, really. But like, doesn't have the most interchangeable hands and interchangeable heads, like anything like that. He's just got personality, man. He comes with he's the only McFarlane figure too I've seen to come with a gun. But I think, you know, like it's a silly little gun. You can't interchange it with anything. But yeah, he's got his like gun there. He's got his crowbar. I love this Joker. I actually think I'm having more fun with this Joker than I did the Mezco one. There's something about this figure, something about the aesthetic, the style, the shape, the sculpt, the look, the poses I can get him into, even despite the lack of thigh swivel. It's just a great figure. I can't speak enough on how much I like Joker here. So yeah, that's everything, really. That's everything. I did dip into getting some Overwatch Ultimates at some point. They're still in a box somewhere, but it's Overwatch. I could speak maybe more on my opinions on Overwatch, but suffice to say, I used to like it. Used to like Overwatch. Emphasis on the past tense there. So that is my collection. That is what I collect. I got my Marvel Legend, Marvel Select, Mezco. Used to have do Masterpiece. Now I do Generations. Got Mafix. Got Figure Arts. Used to do Lightning Collection. Mythic Legions. G.I. Joe Classified. And DC Multiverse and Hot Toys. Oh, actually, NECA Gargoyles. Got the first one of that. Got Goliath. I've also got Phalog on order, hopefully here in February at some point. I've got him up there posed on the only other NECA thing I own, which is the NECA, what's it called? The NECA building display. I'm going to overexpose myself a little bit, but, you know, so you can probably see it a little bit better for video watchers. That is, he's just up there screaming at the sky, you know, looking cool doing so. Love that figure. Got a review of that figure coming out later this week, hopefully. So look forward to that. That's why I'm not bringing him up to the camera, because I'm going to do a whole review of him later on. But that is what I collect, why I collect it, when I started collecting it. How many do I have is the question. Well, I've not counted. Because that would take me all day to count all of them. To count every single figure I have, it would take me all day. So I am estimating 2,000 figures between Transformers, Marvel, DC, Power Rangers, Dragon Ball, G.I. Joe, and Mythic Legions. I'm going to say about 2,000 figures here in the house that I have collected over the past 7.5 years. It's a lot. It's a lot. And you know, you always get the super expensive ones as well, like Unicron there, and Sentinels back there. I've had some bloody expensive figures off the secondary market, like there was Marvel Legends, there was the Jubilee Build-A-Figure Wave Storm, which was a representation of her from Marvel Now, when she had, I think she was an X-Force, actually, or some kind of version of the X-Force team. That was her costume from that time. That figure cost me $300. to get that because I really liked the costume and I really wanted a representation of Storm. So I got that for Christmas. That was my Christmas gift for my whole family, and I chipped in a little bit of money myself to get her. She was $300 for just one Marvel Legends. Yeah, it's pricey, but you know, I got her. I think it was like $250 to get Magic from the SDCC exclusive Doctor Strange multi-pack. I got Magic for about $250, and then years later they would re-release a version of her at Walmart, I believe. No, Walgreens, actually. I think she's a Walgreens exclusive. So that would have been significantly cheaper to wait a couple of years and get the Walgreens version, but I'm still happy with my SDCC version. Haven't really had to pay much in the way of... Oh, actually, no. I did pay secondary market prices on my figure art, my SS Figure Arts Vegito, my Vegito Blue here. He cost me about $240, and he should have only cost about maybe $150. He's a pricey guy. He was pricey, but he got even pricier. Oh, secondary market prices on. Actually, I'm going to make a mess of my Decepticon display by moving him on. Yeah, on my Seacons, and I got Turtler. Yeah, Turtler and Golf. I think it's Golf. Turtler and Golf. These two here, the body and one of the limbs. I got them from Zing for like $60 and $80 respectively, and the rest of them I had to go off the secondary market. So collectively, the rest of them, I think, you know, the whole 6 of them together, all 6 Seacons together, cost me 60, 80, 120. There was another 120, so 200, 320, 380, and then about 300. So it cost me $700 to get that entire Seacons set. Yeah, excessively expensive. Maybe not worth the value of the toy. I'm not, you know, it's just I wanted the Seacons because I thought the Seacons were cool, and I didn't think there was going to be any other opportunity to get one. You know, this is the only option I have for a generation style Seacons lineup, so I got it. You know? So yeah, that was probably the most excessively expensive thing as far as just like the cost versus products, right? Like, you know, so I've spent a lot of money on what I said, near $2,000. I mean, 2,000 figures, and oh man, I wouldn't be shocked if I've hit the $15,000 mark, maybe even higher than that as far as money spent. I should maybe go out of my way to really recalculate the value, like how much I've spent on all of these things collectively. That would be probably a good idea because I've spent a lot of money. Now, I've been rambling on for quite some time about all of this stuff. I guess the final thing is, and I'll try and address this quickly, where do I get all my stuff from? I've got brick and mortar stores that I go to. You know, you've got your Target, you've got your Big W's, you've got your Myers, you've got your Kmarts, you know, those sort of stores. Of course, I go to those. I get things from them plenty enough, but they're not my immediate go-to. Like from Big W, I got that Joker I pulled up. I got Joker and a couple other DC stuff from Big W recently. I got some Marvel Legends, I think, from Target. I've definitely gotten some Transformers from Maya before. Kmart, of course, I had to go to Kmart for certain things because there was some Kmart exclusive Transformers stuff that I got. But yeah, that's you know, those stores, go to those. They're just your standard, you know, general stores. But there's also Toy World. I go to the one at Jets Cross and the one in the city. Whenever I'm in the city, I always like to check them out. They are owned by the same people. Like those two are part of, it's like a franchise. Like every state, I think, has a different franchise. That there's like Mr. Toys or stuff like that. in different states, and they're all owned by different people, but it's all the one Toy World franchise. The people who, Jeps Cross and the city here in Adelaide are owned by the same people. Lovely people, by the way. I've met them. They're great. I actually really like them. Great people. I would highly recommend going there anytime because they're just awesome people. There's, of course, Zing Pop Culture and by extension EB Games. I get like maybe 50% of my figures through the EB Games, my local EB Games. They know me. They know my name. They know my voice. They know my face. I walked into my EB Games the other day just to waste time because I was waiting for a script at the pharmacy to get processed. So I went to EB Games, and I walked in, and one of the workers there literally sees me, doesn't say anything to me, sees me walking in, walks to the back, comes back and says, "Hey, how you doing, Chief?" And I'm like, "I'm pretty good. How are you?" He's like, "Yeah, are you here to pick this up?" And I looked, and I'm just, there's my Gen Select lift ticket, which I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know that this was here for me. I didn't get a text message or anything." He's like, "Yeah, no, it's in." And I mean, he double checked the street day. He's like, "Yeah, no, it released the other day." And I'm like, "Put it on lay-by?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll put it on lay-by," and threw it on lay-by, took it back. He's like, I'm like, "Yeah, sweet, all right, I'll be back to collect it." But just saw me in the store and was like, "Ah, cool, yeah, no, that's his." I don't know if that's a great sign or not, but it's a sign. So yeah, I've gotten Hot Toys from there as well. I've gotten Transformers. I've gotten Dragon Ball stuff, like my Birdo Goldo from SH Figure Arts. I got those. Yeah, I got Goku Black from there as well. So yeah, I've gotten a few things from EV Games. But then of course there's Zing, which obviously Zing is the one who actually does a lot of the collectibles. I'm obviously you're more likely to walk into a Zing and find a collectible, but I order my stuff through my local EB because they're just right around the corner. I can walk there. I'm going to go to my EB. But of course, things where you will just walk in and find stuff, or they're more likely to have stock of stuff. There is, of course, Shin Tokyo in the city. They are awesome. They're lovely. Like I said, I got Transformers from there. I've also gotten SH Figure Arts. I've gotten like Broly from there before. They are great. Love Shin Tokyo. Like I said, a lot of lovely people work there. So I have to tell you about them. Always recommend you go to Shin Tokyo if you're looking for any sort of import thing like that, because it's what they focus on, manga, anime, video games, and import stuff. I got some mates who go there for Gundam all the time, so definitely worth going and checking out. I'm also just going to throw it out there. JB Hi-Fi, they started doing action figures. They got Marvel Legends, they got Transformers. They're doing DC Multiverse. I don't know when, I don't know why, I don't know what's caused them to do this, but they're doing them. And I've actually gotten a couple of things from there recently. So yeah, it's a bit bizarre. I don't know how to feel about it, but JB Hi-Fi is doing action figures. So, that's a thing. Go check out JB Hi-Fi. You might find what you're looking for. You might actually find what you're looking for. There's also stores that do online as well. Obviously, JB Hi-Fi has online, but there's a couple other stores which I do a lot of my online stuff through that are local as well. There's Mighty Toys, for example. Mighty Toys is a small business. They do a lot of Power Rangers, but they've also got a bunch of things like SH Figure Arts. I've mostly gotten SH Figure Arts from them, but I've also gotten Power Rangers Lightning Collection from them. They've actually just this week, as of this video, announced that they're moving stores. So their physical store is going to be closed down for a little bit as the time of this recording. It should be opened back up like mid to late February, I believe. So they'll have a new physical store. So maybe go check out their social media for or their website, social media and their website for information on that. But their online orders are still going to keep going. So check them out for that. Because they do some things. They are worth the time. Pure online stores, there's obviously the big one, pop culture. I don't really think they need to be talked up because they're pop culture. If you collect in Australia, you know pop culture. There's Bulletproof Villain. I've got a few things from Bulletproof Villain. The first thing I did was order an entire wave of the Avengers Endgame Marvel Legends from them, and they came to me quick, easy, simple. Bulletproof Villain are great. Go check them out. It's Bulletproof Villain. I'll actually link them in the description below because they're worth linking. Similarly, Sugo Toys. Sugo Toys, I've gotten Hot Toys and figure arts from, but they also do Marvel Legends. I've ordered a Transformers figure from 3-0. They're non-transforming, but I've ordered that. I'm quite interested. I hope I get my hands on it. There is also, what does that say? Oh, Robot Toys. Robot Toys, actually, this Retgar here, he is from Robot Toys. The man who runs Robot Toys is an amazing person. He's genuinely great. I love them, and I love the service that Robot Toys provides. They're just great, like a great, awesome, very customer-centric service. Love them. Love shopping at Robot Toys. I'll always check in with what Robot Toys has in stock just to see if I can get stuff from them first, because they are awesome in that regard. Always recommend going and checking out Robot Toys. There is also, obviously, you got Amazon and you got eBay. I've gotten a lot of things from eBay. There's a lot of sellers that I go back to on eBay because they've been proven to be legitimate sellers. Amazon, I mean, it's Amazon. What can you really do with Amazon? It's Amazon. You go there and you buy stuff. So there's obviously those guys as well. And that's everything I have listed. Hopefully, I haven't forgotten anyone. Big Bad Toy Store. If you've watched toy reviews, gone online, bought toys, Big Bad Toy Store has shown up. I don't have to. I've gotten Transformers. It's where I've gotten a lot of my Mythic Legions from. I've gotten Mythic Legions also from Store Horseman directly, of course. Store Horseman being, the 4 Horseman Studios, the guys who made this, their actual website. So, gotten stuff from there as well. But yeah, that's all the stores that I get stuff from. There's a lot there. A lot of payment options. There's a lot of them provide lay-by, afterpay, zip pay, Hum, PayPal, credit card. There's a lot of options, a lot of payment options across all of them. Prices vary quite highly depending on who you're going and what you're getting. So I check all of my sources and all the stores I go to. Like Bulletproof Villain, Pop Culture, Zing, and Robot Toys and Sugo Toys. All of them provide Marvel Legends. So I check all of them. I see if they've all, if I got a Marvel Legend I really want, I go check all of them because someone might have the better price, or alternatively, someone might have the better deal. So like, hey, $100 afterpay. And we've got 1, 2, 3 figures that are up to 120. And you want all 3 of them, afterpay all 3 of them. I'm like, that's actually kind of better than the 140 for all 3 of these figures somewhere else, or whatever, or free shipping, or whatever. There's so many different variations across different groups that it's always worth checking out all of them. So I'll link to a bunch of the sites. There's like Sugo Toys, Mighty Toys, Bulletproof Villain, and of course Robot Toys. My personal favorite, I think, are Sugo Toys and Robot Toys, but Bulletproof Villain and Mighty Toys, I haven't had a really bad experience with them yet. So go check them out as well. They're worth it. There we go. That's where I get all my stuff from. And I don't really think there's much more I can actually say. I think I've essentially covered everything. What I collect, why I collect it, when I collected it, how much I have, how much it costs, and where I get it from. Do I have a favorite toy? No, because it changes daily. Do I have a least favorite toy? No, because I love all of my toys, and if I don't love them, they're not here anymore. So, yes. Do I have a favorite toy line? No. I have Marvel Legends, which I have the most of, but I don't think that's I'm not sure if it's my favorite toy line. Every toy line has a negative and a positive. Like at the moment, I think my favorite toy line is actually DC Multiverse, because it's the one that I gotten the most recently. But then again, I also pulled out my Mafix Spidey recently, and I'm loving him, and I really want to see if any of the other Mafix stuff is good. Like I've heard some great things about that Mafix Superman that came out. So, you know, it changes, man. I don't have a set favorite toy line, a set favorite figure. That's part of the reason why I collect, because there's so many good things out there. So yeah, that's my rambling hour, maybe more than an hour. I haven't edited this video yet. Of what was that? Something just came up on my thing. My rambling hour or so of action figures. If you liked my rambling, if I directed you to a good store, if I convinced you to try a new toy line through my very bare minimum description of each of them, let me know. We have a comment section. We have a subscribe button. We want you to hit that too. We have a like button. Hit that too. There's a share button. Do that as well. It's YouTube. I don't think I have to explain this part. It's YouTube. It's existed for years now. This is how it works. You should know this. Do it. Help me. Help us. Help Sam. Help Ashraf by bringing more viewers and stuff to this channel. If you liked what you saw, or even if you didn't and you just feel bad for me and you want to make my life easier, make me feel better. Click that like button. Make me feel good about myself. Unless you're listening to this on Spotify, in which case, leave Spotify, go to YouTube, like the video, go back to your Spotify. Do that. You're awesome. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining me once again at the Champions Way. Hopefully, I will see you again very soon.